Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Becoming a mum should be a wonderful time in any woman's life. As Chantella Karamuth said, when I gave birth to my son, it was something else, something more than happiness. And that's what mums throughout the world feel, because we love our babies. I loved it so much, I went on to have 5 children, and I trained as an NCT teacher and have been teaching over 30 years. I feel I know a little bit about giving birth in the UK, but what if you didn't? What if you were a stranger in a foreign land? You just imagine for a moment that you were forced to flee your country for fear of your life, and you had to leave everything you know behind. Your family, maybe your children, your friends, your home, your culture, your food, your car, your career, everything, and start all over again. And you have to run for fear of your life. Maybe having a really, really difficult journey, and you might be one of the few, which is less than 1% of the world refugees, who actually end up in the UK. Nobody chooses to be a refugee. And just imagine the barriers you might have to face to start life again. What sort of welcome would you get in the UK? Maybe some people would ignore you. Others might tell you to go back to where you came from. We've got enough foreigners here. But just imagine that people reached out and welcomed you, were kind, showed you the way, included you. How amazingly shocking would that be? Well, in the City of Sanctuary, that's what we're about. It's a movement that hopes to create places that are proud to welcome people seeking asylum and refugee. And within that movement, we've got a subgroup called the Maternity stream of Sanctuary. And in that, we focus on welcoming and including pregnant women and their families. Now, the women who come have a wealth of knowledge and experience, but it's very different to what people born in the UK may go through. In what ways? Well, many don't have pregnancy tests. As one woman said to me, don't women in the UK trust their bodies? Made me smile. But actually, they're not obsessed with when their baby is coming as we are, that due date. And they have no idea that we want them to see a midwife before a certain time. Maternity is considered women's business. Men, you've done your bit, but now butt out. And it's a real women supporting women culture. Many come from cultures where you have to pay for care. And because of that, they only see a health professional if they are ill, and they're not ill when they're pregnant. So why do they need to see anybody? It also means that they may not know about preventative medicine because, again, you have to pay for it. If they see a health professional, it tends to be a doctor, not a midwife, or not a midwife as we would understand the term. And they don't seem to understand the term GPs or having to register with them. It's a different concept altogether. Mental health, that's not recognised in many cultures. Many give birth at home, but it tends to be because it's cheaper and they haven't had good antenatal care, so it is riskier. If they give birth in hospital, it can be a very, very different experience than giving birth in hospital in the UK. And sadly, as I'm sure you know, in many third world countries, they have high maternal and infant death rates. But even here in the UK, a quarter of maternal deaths are to non-UK women, and 12% of these are refugees. Now, that's a shocking figure. And I believe we need to sell midwifery to keep mums and babies safe. Now, what I'd like to do is to hand over to Wan, who is seeking asylum, who's going to share her experiences of motherhood with you. So Wan, over to you now.
All right. Thank you, Rose. Hi, everyone. It is an honor for this opportunity. Actually, to be honest, I'm quite nervous. Pardon if my English is not so good. I'm still learning. I call my story my healing journey. So today I'm feeling happy on top of nervous to share with all of you about my story. Okay, next slide, Rose. Okay, this is a picture of me when I arrived last 3 years ago in June 2019. I was 10 weeks pregnant, and on the second day, I was miscarriage. Maybe it's possibly due to long journey. It took a 12 hours direct flight. And to be honest, it's a quite stressful journey for me. I'm not voluntarily come to UK. I've been forcibly by my ex-partner to come to UK, and I have to left my other children there. So somehow it's a lot of pressure for me there, but I'm not really aware that I'm struggling with mental health condition that time. So this is the nurse, actually the one person that I've been dealing with. I still remember her name is Phil. Hopefully one day I'm able to meet her again to say many, many thanks, because I was really scared on that day when I went to the Hillingdon hospital because of the bleeding. And they told me that if the bleeding continued, then they might be doing the NC to me. So I was horribly scared because we don't have money back in my country. If any operations, and somewhat if you are foreigner, and we just arrived at UK, we not even have a proper document from Home Office that time. Me and my ex-partner was really scared because we don't have money, to be honest. So it costs like 1,000 in my country. So somehow we only have like a border interview from the border police in airport that time. So the doctor said that we can just show her the proof that we've been applying for asylum. So it was free. I was like, oh my God, is it real? And this nurse, Pill, she's actually somehow triggered a moment, which is I wasn't talkative like this before. I was really deep in dark in my sorrowness, in my sadness, due to the domestic abuse that I've been facing for almost like 5 years. So somehow I didn't talk to her anything. She just looked into my eyes, holding my hand, and she just said that you will be fine. You are now in UK. And then I just feel like what she's talking about. So it's something like make me question someone that I don't know, but just hold my hand, look into my eyes, and told me all these things, because in my country, when I come from, hospital staff is not really friendly. They are like some kind of like overstressed or something like that. So we don't really talk much with the hospital staff there. So it make me feel there might be a tiny hope for me. So next slide, Rose. Okay. When I reach UK, from sorry, I have the little one here who refused to sleep. So, hello. So when I'm in UK, I've been sent from London to the temporary camp in Wakefield. So there is somehow, because I've been told by the doctor who did the NC to me to do a pregnancy test again after 3 weeks to make sure that my pregnancy hormone clear. So I went to the clinic inside the temporary camp there. So I met this lovely nurse. Her name is Lucy. So she somehow also recognized something with me, because I just can't stop crying. And this is actually because I have lost one of my sons last 4 years ago. This is his picture here. And I never dared to share his picture before. But now I start to accept that it's a grief period for me. So the nurse do some sort of like assessment that I'm actually having this briefing and I have depression. And also due to my domestic abuse, toxic relationship before, I have PTSD, panic attack, and anxiety. Somehow, because I've been trying to get pregnant badly when I lost my son. So she asked me to try a medicine, which is I become skeptical about that. I know in my country this the moment you've been asked to take a mental health medicine, you are being labeled as a crazy person. So I refuse because I'm not crazy. I don't want to be called crazy. The medicine is the sign that I'm crazy. But somehow she just asked me, can you just give me a favor? And I was like someone who can't say no. So I just like, okay, because she's nice, but she approached me in the way that I could not imagine actually, because she asked me and then let her know about the medicine. And she explained to me what the medicine will help me to help me with the low mood, with the depressions, all these things. And I was just like, I never experienced this kind of explanation, even to with the nurse, even a doctor back in my country. We just like cannot ask questions. We just need to accept whatever they give. So that's it. So we just go to pharmacy. So the explanation is really make me understand why I need to take the medicine. So when I tried the first time the medicine, I was start to feeling good after 4 days. Before that, I was struggling, but she was really nice and kind. She told me, one, I think you really need extra help. The moment you move from the temporary camp, please go to GP. And then I just like, what is GP? My country, we don't have this kind of GP MIP thing, so I have no idea about that. So she said in UK, we normally have practice something like a health practitioner, something like that called GP. So every person in UK need to have GP. So, and then please talk to the doctor about my mental health conditions. I need to be open and they will do some assessment on me. So I got my first address with my partner to Barnsley. So that's the first thing I did. And also the next step that I do, that I went to Refugee Council in Barnsley. This is actually the place, one stop, actually, I can say that what really, really helped me to get more information about what I've been struggling, about my situation that time. I went to the women's group, and then there have been a guest speaker talking about domestic abuse, talking about financial abuse, that I just come to know abuse is not only on physical, it's also on psychological, emotion, and mental health situation is kind of like effect of that. So if I wanted to pregnant again, so I need to feel to take care of myself. That's what they told me. So because I really trying to get pregnant, somehow when I there is an episode that I will skip it. So and on to 2020, I managed to get pregnant again, but I still in the situation that I'm having this PTSD and depressions badly. So I start to screaming to my doctor, asking for help. And the beautiful part is, next slide, Rose. The beautiful part is my GP was, I think for my own, I'm lucky to have a very good GP. When I'm in the Leeds, from Barnsley, I moved to Leeds, and I got pregnant when I was in Leeds, and I got this very nice GP, and the doctor really interested to know what I need. So what happened, they assigned me to a midwife, to the normal midwife. That's one that one also I come to know that the terms midwife in my country will never have midwife. So I don't not really understand. But then the GP midwife, we talk about my mental health condition. She suggests that I really need a specialist midwife. So I've been referred to my midwife, a specialist midwife in the mental health, called Hannah. And she's a very lovely person. I like her from the first sight. Even though that time when I was pregnant, it was a lockdown, the first lockdown. So I'm basically, due to my mental health condition, I'm being locked down myself for long before the lockdown. So somehow Hannah really helped me to go through my pregnancy. She have referred me to a perinatal services, perinatal team, which is I have my own doctor who helping me with more things. And also I've been referred to Children's Center and also social care. And all somehow I wanted to share here that next slide, please, Rose. So during the lockdown, Hannah been referring me to a few things, and also because I'm an asylum seeker, I was in the shared accommodation before, so I received a leaflet from Leeds City Council, and then there is a volunteer named Rosie, who been attended me that time. So that's I come to know about Rose antenatal class. What I wanted to say, even though she's doing a volunteer during the lockdown specifically, she been with me while I was in my low down situations, and she never give up on me since on my first trimester. She been talking about Rose antenatal class. I'm not really interested because it's not something that I used to know, because I've been pregnant 6 times before, so I'm not really know about this antenatal care. But she kept proposing me, keep trying on me, and then on my 7th month, I agree on the 3rd trimester already. So what's the most thing that I shocked? Actually, the first time I joined Rose class, I come to know that there is a different labor positions, which is I never know in my life. I've been giving birth for all my children on the same side, lay down on the bed and be scolded for making noise, and no motivation at all. So I was like really depressed. You're already in pain to give birth, and then the staff just gets scolded you for making noise. So it's really not helpful. What happened when I gave birth to this boy? Baby, it was a really beautiful sunny day, and I want to highlight there is a student midwife who assisting the midwife that day. She's really boost a spiritual in me, because in my life when I give birth, I never been told like, come on, Juan, you can do it, you are amazing, come on, push it. I was in the middle of pushing when I heard that she's saying that. I just stopped and looked at her. I can't believe this. Is this real? So this is a student midwife who so touched me. I mean, someone who never experienced a motivation, someone talk to me like that. It's really shocked me actually. But somehow I just managed within few minutes. I just managed to push my baby out, and she just helped me a lot. Make me hot chocolate, give me some biscuit. Oh my God, it's really amazing feeling. I never have, even last time for 7 times gave birth. It was first and it was only with my 8th pregnant baby I got it. Next, please, Rose. So this is I wanted to share. This is how I look like, the most different on my face when I give birth to my other son in 2016. I was really miserable, bruises all over the face. And on 2020, I was happy. And this little boy have a Christmas hat. Next, Rose. So after all the support that I received, I'm start to found myself, and I have joined a few groups, and this is one of the group that I joined called Diverse Mom Group with the perinatal leads health services. I did video and podcast with them, and on 2021 we won the National Service User Award. Next, Rose. And I'm also helping other moms, actually promoting other moms in Rose and antenatal class and maternity stream to play football, because I feel like it's really helped. Like when I learn to kick the ball, I learn to focus and distract my mind to the ball. Yes, you also want to talk. Okay, so this is so this is one of many. It's okay. He's singing. He's happy. So I just want to share here the things that I've been created with Rose and with other people also.
Okay, Juan, I think that it might be hard for people to hear. Do you want me to just read this last one for you? Okay, do you want to just mute yourself, Juan?
Sorry?
Just,
okay.
Do you want to mute yourself, and I'll just read it for you so people can hear. So just to end for Juan, this is her last stage. She has been absolutely incredible at helping me to raise awareness and to give talks to people in lots of different situations. And I think that, as you can tell, she's quite an inspirational woman who has been through an awful hard time. But now even the people in antenatal class call her the wise woman, because she's such a fantastic mum. So thank you very much, Juan, for sharing that with us. I'd just like to, we haven't got too much time, but I would just like to move on to share a few more things with you. I thought we could just maybe have a little focus on maybe the barriers people might face. A huge one is a fear to trust. Juan had great support, and look how she knew every person's name. That really struck me. But many people are fearful to trust. They're used to not being trusted themselves, and they're scared to trust others. They're scared in case information is shared, particularly with the Home Office, and that they might be deported. They lack knowledge on the system here, and they need help to understand it, because accessing the NHS is complex. They may struggle to register with GPs because many GPs ask for ID, even though this goes directly against NHS England's policy. And of course, if you don't have a GP, you don't get a midwife. I've also put there a dentist, because whatever we do now, we are really, really struggling to get NHS dentists for any people that we work with. Another problem people face is booking appointments, particularly during the pandemic. Now, all of us may find that hard, but if you have English as an additional language and the receptionists don't use interpreters, it's a nightmare. Those who may need to travel to appointments or even to the hospital for birth may not have money to do so. And that can be a reason why they don't attend your clinics. Sometimes, sadly, people face unwelcoming atmospheres. It might be worth reflecting on what's it like when people come to see you. Forms and letters are a nightmare. Again, imagine if you don't speak English, how difficult they could be to complete. So language itself is a huge problem. But one of the problems is that people, health professionals, I'm afraid, don't always use interpreters. Everyone has a human right to be understood, but frequently interpreters are not used. And I remember speaking at a conference for the RCOG and asking consultants there, why aren't they used? This was with a mum who'd had a 3-day labour and had had no interpreter, though she only spoke Spanish, and they got informed consent using sign language for a proposed caesarean. And I question whether that's possible. We asked why, and the discussion led to that actually many health professionals aren't trained to use interpreters, so maybe don't feel confident to do so. And it does take time, and they feel they want to save the NHS money. But actually what they don't realise is that it puts mums and babies' lives at risk. And I reckon it puts health professionals at risk, because if you don't get proper informed consent, you're leaving yourself open to problems. I said this to the consultants, and I was quite shocked when one turned round and said, well, they're not likely to sue us anyway. How shocking is that? Does that mean it doesn't matter? And it made me feel, do I have to get women to sue you? That's not how I want to work. But actually, maybe that is something that needs to be sued. That's really scary, isn't it? How sad. One thing I thought I'd share with you is we've just done some research with the White Ribbon Alliance about what women want from maternity. And these were the 3 things that the women from our group said. They wanted to feel safe. Now, can you imagine that being the first thing that women said? If you ask British women, they wouldn't consider that about maternity because we take it for granted. But they wanted to feel safe. They wanted to feel supported, and they wanted to be part of a supportive community. Another huge barrier, I'm afraid, is charging for maternity care. Women who are refused asylum are chargeable for all their maternity appointments as well as the birth. And the fear of the bills can put women off seeing their midwife. If they have a debt of over £500, which they can do from just a few appointments, that can be reported to the Home Office and can affect any future applications they make for asylum. And I want to question, what's the point in charging pregnant women who can't pay? Surely we're just putting mums and babies' lives at risk. Now, we've tried to overcome this locally and worked with our overseas department in the local trust. And we formed a template letter, which when you look at this presentation, you can read in detail. But basically, what the essence of it is the person makes a payment plan. They tick the box, which is what they're asked to do. But they offer to pay 1 penny a month in cash because they have no bank account. Now, the trust doesn't accept cash payments, and then they write off the bill. It's been fantastic because it's meant as a result, the women have then felt confident to continue seeing their midwife when otherwise they would not have done. So I thought I'd share that with you, but also to say that the overseas department said to us, if health professionals informed them that somebody was destitute and wouldn't be able to pay, then they wouldn't raise the invoice in the first place. So I think that's something important message in a really positive way you could help women. Just briefly, I'd like to talk about the antenatal class that I teach. It's something you could easily, I hope, set up. It's particularly aimed at women seeking asylum and refugees, and it's a free drop-in rolling programme where we have interpreters, a creche and a clothing exchange. The most important thing, I think, is that we provide a safe environment for people to share their hopes, fears and experiences. And as a result, we discuss loads of issues. For example, should men be at the birth? Will I have to give birth alone? Lots of comparisons between what happens back home, which women think of as normal, as they would, and how it's different in the UK. We help women to understand they have choices here and give them confidence to believe in themselves. And I believe the impact of the classes on women from other countries is greater than on women from the UK. And the reason being, they're not trained to conform. So when they go into hospital, they don't get on the bed just when it's shown to them. They actually have active births, just as Juan described. So can we meet the needs, health needs of migrant women? Maybe no, you're like my little friend Ewan with his head in the sand. It's too hard. I know you're really busy people and you've got an awful lot on your plate. Or maybe you could, but how? A lot of it is basic things that midwives, I believe, naturally have, and that is to smile, to be welcoming with your body, your words and your tone, and to be genuine, because people know if you're being genuine or not. Be kind, because kindness saves lives. Explain terms like confidentiality because they won't know what it means. Go out of your way to build trusting relationships and make time to listen. Have those extra long appointments if the woman doesn't speak English as a first language. See the person, not the problem. And ask people how they really are. Signpost to services and know the good services that are in your area. Do the RCM module that I did help write on caring for pregnant women seeking asylum and CPD for your CPD. And join me and many others, over 240 organisations, for the Together with Refugees campaigns. I'm sad to say our government has got a really awful immigration bill they're trying to push through at the moment, which is very unwelcoming. And we're trying to actually campaign against this. You can look more about that on Together with Refugees. There's really good resources. I haven't time to go into detail here, which you can use. One is just launched Maternity Stream Sanctuary, a great overview. But the ones from the Refugee Council give you clear information about what women are entitled to. One is for women themselves and the other is for you at health professionals, because the asylum system is extremely complex and they can really help you to help women through it. I've also done a guide on facilitating antenatal classes for people seeking asylum and refugees that you can look at. And lastly here, maternity action film on the impact of charging. So I'd just like to share with you 3 main lessons I've learned from working with inspirational women. And that is, 1, never underestimate the power of a woman or the love of a mother for her children or the capacity of a woman who has suffered to help others who are suffering, because mums are amazing. Okay, and I've got some references you can use there. Thanks very much.